Good morning, everyone. I'm Brooke Rouse from the St. Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce. We're really excited today to be launching a series in partnership with the Watertown Daily Times, as well as our chamber partners at the Greater Watertown North Country Chamber and chambers across the North Country to provide you with this valuable information. And today the session will be starting with local SEO. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Please remain muted until the question and answer period. You can certainly ask your questions in the chat box throughout the session, and we'll have an opportunity to answer those questions as well if you want to get them down while they're on your mind. And we, as I said, will have time for question and answer at the end. We will be recording all of these sessions and making them available to you and others who have registered. The login for the future sessions is the same login. So save it and mark your calendar and plan to join us for the next 4 sessions as well. If you do have any questions about joining a Chamber of Commerce or benefiting more from your current membership, certainly reach out to us. Kayla from the Watertown Chamber is on the call, and if there are other chamber partners, feel free to introduce yourselves in that chat again, and we're happy to follow up with you. So we're going to get started. I'm happy to introduce our presenter today, Sebastian. He's on the SEO team at the Watertown Daily Times, and his partner, who many of us know, Rudy Clark, who some of us have worked with, will be presenting this topic today. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brooke. First off, we just want to, thank everybody for coming, especially for the local chambers, the sponsors for this webinar. Out in the field there, we've been having a lot of questions trying to understand the differences in all the packages that we offer. So I thought it would be best to have a series of webinars to better explain it. That way you can have the understanding and knowledge that you would need to make a digital advertising decision. I don't know about y'all, but the first time when someone tried to explain to me about digital advertising, I was lost halfway through the first sentence. The terminology that they use, something that we're not familiar with. And on the, let me pull it up and show you real quick. On the invite that you got, actually was the announcement originally. If you go to the bottom of it, let's see if I can find it real quick. I can't find it here. Sorry, I've been having a problem with my computer this morning. But at the bottom of it, it'll say abbreviations, if I remember right. If you click on that, you'll be able to download a list of abbreviations and definitions on a one sheet that we created to make it easier for you to refer back to. Today's topic is going to be local SEO. And the best way to describe local SEO, in my opinion, is picture your website having its own main street. Your store is your website. It's on Main Street. And what you want to try to do is to ascertain the foot traffic going down Main Street to come into your unit and notice your unit more than the next. So with that being said, we're going to go over a short deck explaining what it's all about. Then after that, we're going to go over the actual reporting that we use. It's live reporting. So, you can get the most up-to-date information. If you need to change things up, divert things, and move it around however you want during the course of the campaign, you can always email us and we'd be able to do that for you. And then also at the end, we're going to explain what a website audit is. And that's a free service that we would offer to you. And it will show you the pros and cons. Basically, it's a report card on your website. So you can better understand where you stand when other people are trying to view you. And, I'll let Sebastian, he'll explain that a little bit better. I thought it would be best to invite Sebastian because he handles this on a daily basis, and all he does is local SEO. I'm sure he sees it in the nightmares, as he's dreaming throughout the night. He does it that often. So
I
anyway, Without any further delay, let me invite Sebastian to take it from here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your introduction, Rudy and Brooke, and thank you all so much for joining us for today's webinar. As they had just explained, my name is Sebastian. I'm a member of the local SEO team, and I am thrilled to be here to be able to talk about local SEO, what it is, and the kind of success that it can drive for some of your clients. So, as he mentioned, let's get on going. In today's webinar, we're going to be talking through an introduction to local SEO, just to get an understanding of what it is and where it fits within the buyer's journey so that we can understand as marketers how to build a full funnel strategy with local SEO involved. We'll highlight what the ranking factors are for local SEO and how they play into your success, but we're primarily going to focus on the biggest ranking factor among them, which that is, of course, the Google Business Profile. We'll wrap up today by talking about reporting, as Rudy mentioned, and showcasing how we showcase our performance for local SEO campaigns. And we'll end today with a case study that highlights some really exciting success we were able to deliver for one of our clients. So with that being said, as Rudy mentioned, you're probably familiar, at least in part, with some of the terms for SEO, and a lot of them being largely technical jargon, which is why I like to start with a very, very simple explanation of local SEO and what it accomplishes. Local SEO and SEO in general is all about roads. It's about the roads that connect you to your prospects online. Now, in real life, those roads hardly ever change. There might be a detour or weather or something that closes a road down, but for the most part, a couple of lefts, a couple of rights, you get from your client's front door to yours. Online, those roads change all the time. They make them longer, shorter, narrower, wider. They add new ones. They take old ones down. And so the essential thing to understand about SEO is that without it, those roads between you and your prospects tend to get longer and longer and longer, making it harder for potential clients to find you. Whereas when you run an SEO campaign, you have the opportunity to make those roads as short as possible. Enough so that you can become what I like to call the corner store of every neighborhood that's in your market. The choice that's so useful, relevant, and convenient, it almost doesn't make sense for folks to go anywhere else. I mean, I can almost guarantee that if most folks on this call needed milk for dinner tonight, you wouldn't hop on the highway when you know the place right down the road has it, right? That's the ultimate goal, being so available, you're the natural choice. So with that being said, let's get a little bit more specific. SEO, local SEO specifically, is the process of optimizing your Google business profile and appearances throughout the web to increase your organization's visibility on Google search. Now, this is specifically for searches where somebody is looking for something in their area. So think about searches like paint store near me or gas station around the corner. These kinds of searches, Google knows that the person who's doing the searching is looking for something in their immediate area. And so they utilize all sorts of different local SEO tactics and evaluations to choose the best choices for that specific search. Now, local SEO can have a really big impact on an organization's bottom line, especially if they rely on some sort of foot traffic to drive their goals. For example, any organizations with a physical location, like physical retail stores, or even organizations that rely on local visibility, like service area businesses. Each of these folks rely on folks in their area knowing who they are and connecting with them as quickly as possible in order to drive their bottom line. And so some quick stats for you to illustrate how important that can be. Well, 88% of all individuals who search for a local business utilizing Google search end up calling or visiting that business often within 24 hours. So once again, just to emphasize that, over 80% of individuals who are in market for a specific service and use Google to search for information on that product, over 80% of those folks end up calling and choosing one of those businesses to do business with within a single day. And local SEO being that primary tactic to help connect you and your clients with folks who are already in market for some of those products and services, it's pretty easy to see the massive impact that building your visibility on local can have on getting more individuals in the door, both physically and calling on the phone or asking for directions. And one last stat for you is that a growing number of adults utilize voice search to find a local business. Think things like, hey Siri, can you name a paint store near me so I can grab some paint for a project, right? Lots more folks are utilizing these kinds of searches to find local businesses, and local SEO is a tactic that can help optimize for that, getting you more often than not showing up in the results for those instead of one of your competitors. Now, we're talking about increasing your visibility on search and making it so that more people can find and connect with you. But I want to be specific about where. You guys are probably familiar with Google search as one of the most powerful tools in the world to help get information on businesses. And when someone searches something in Google search, they will see results similar to what we see here on the right of the screen. The top results that typically have the word ad next to them, those are paid placements purchased through search engine marketing. You'll see some more information on search engine marketing later on in this webinar, or in this product series, I should say, a couple of weeks from now. The bottom results at the bottom there, those natural blue links, those are called organic results. But for the focus of today's presentation, we're going to focus on what you see in the middle, those local results, those 3 local businesses with a snapshot of the map around your local area. This 3-pack, as we like to call it, showcases the top 3 organizations in terms of local SEO rankings that are commanding those top spots. And if you were searching something like the search on the right, tire shop near me, and you were just looking to get your tire replaced, odds are you're probably going to choose one of these top 3 spots since the information is available for you, and you even have the opportunity to click a button to get directions or even call the organization right there. So local SEO drives a whole bunch of interest, and it's really great for getting people in the door. Continuing on here, I wanted to talk about local SEO and where it fits in terms of the buyer's journey. You guys have probably seen some version of the chart here on the left, detailing all the different steps a certain customer goes through before they make a decision to go with a certain product. Now, at that top end, we've got branding and awareness, interest and research, and ultimately getting down to consideration where they're evaluating their options and seeing what they have available to them. Local SEO is primarily a bottom funnel tactic, meaning it's really effective at driving success and influencing folks' consideration, folks who are already in market for some of your products and services, and then making it as easy as possible for them to make the natural choice to convert with your organization or your client, right? Since ultimately providing that information at, kind of at the tip of your fingers in the Google Business Profile, whenever, you show up for certain products or services, it can be really easy to kind of connect folks from that influencing consideration point all the way down to conversion, getting them to show up in store, call on the phone, book an appointment, or all other, a whole bunch of other local actions that can drive your bottom line. So when you consider where local SEO can fit, and that being that bottom funnel tactic, you can start to see how easy it is to pair local SEO with top funnel tactics to build a full funnel marketing strategy. Imagine, for example, running a programmatic display campaign or a streaming TV campaign where you've got a whole bunch of eyes and impressions on your brand. Well, when some of those individuals are impressed by some of those advertisements and then go to look you up following, well, local SEO is primarily that tactic to help make it as easy as possible for them to go right to your website, get more information, or even show up right in the store. So that's kind of where it fits. And I encourage you guys to consider over the next couple of weeks in webinar series how these different products can work together to build full funnel marketing strategies and really position yourselves as a consultant relationship with some of your clients and local businesses. Now, to discuss what plays into your success with respect to local, we've got the ranking factors listed out here on the right. Now, I'm not going to go through them all, but I do want to highlight that there's a ton of different factors that play into your success. And focusing just on the GBP, it's not quite enough to maximize all of your visibility. Now, some of these factors are outside of your control. Behavioral data and personalization, those have a lot to do with the individual searcher. You can't necessarily change where somebody lives or what they like to do on the weekends, so those are outside of your control. But it's good to know that every other tactic on the list, every other ranking factor that can be influenced by a third party is covered by one of our local SEO packages, which makes a lot of sense since, of course, we want to be able to maximize return on investment by addressing every single element that can play an impact in your success. So, as I mentioned, we're going to highlight just the biggest one of these factors, and that is the Google Business Profile. So let's dive into that. If you're not familiar with the Google Business Profile, this is Google's own repository of information about your business. It's hosted on their site, and you as a business owner can claim your Google Business Profile and enter in all sorts of relevant information to your business. That info can show up in a couple of different spots, including that local 3-pack that I showed you guys earlier, but also in the Google Business Profile that you see in the bottom right, and the expanded knowledge panel, which can sometimes give more information for specific searches. Now, keeping the Google Business Profile optimized makes a really big impact on your visibility and how many times your organization shows up in searches. On average, we see a plus 50% lift on organizations who make updates to their Google Business Profile more than 3 times a month. Now, that could be pretty challenging for a lot of local businesses, especially if they have, very little bandwidth to be able to focus on the Google Business Profile specifically. So that's just another benefit of running local SEO with a team, since we can not only pay attention to best practices and make sure we're making the right choices to keep you at the top of the list, but also make consistent updates and monitor to make sure that we can free up that bandwidth for our clients and ensure that we are making the best possible choices to keep them at the top of the rankings. Now, to give you guys just a simple analogy to help explain why the Google Business Profile is so important, imagine for a moment that you folks on the call are the manager of a hotel. You get into work, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and you really need information on somebody staying inside one of your rooms. Now, you've got two options for getting that information. You could either run up and down all 30 floors, kicking down doors and shaking people out of bed until you find the guy you're looking for and you can get the answers you need, or you could go to the front desk. Now, most of us in that scenario, we're going to go to the front desk. Why? Because they work for us and it's their whole job to have information on people staying inside our hotel. Well, that is exactly how Google treats the Google Business Profile. They're going to go here to this panel before they go to your website, your social profiles, or anywhere else on the web that has information about you. And so simply put, the easiest way to make sure that you are being found for everything that you want to drive interest for is to just populate a lot of that information directly into the Google Business Profile, whispering right into Google's ear exactly what it is that you'd like to be. So we talked a lot about the Google Business Profile. It's Google's own repository of information about your business, as I mentioned. But there are a couple of other factors that play into your success, and I want to talk about one of them, business listings. Oh, there you go. So business listings, it's 7% of the algorithms I showcased earlier on in the ranking factors slide. And essentially, this is just a measure of how accurate and consistent your business's information appears throughout the web's major directories. Now, you can see some of the what we call top tier directories listed out here on the left. These are some of the largest directories and databases in the world, right? And they have information on businesses from coast to coast, not just in specific markets. So Yelp, Apple Maps, and Amazon Alexa are great examples, but you've probably also heard of some more, Foursquare, MapQuest, things like that. These directories are trusted sources for information on businesses from coast to coast, as I mentioned. And so Google tends to trust them on containing some basic details about businesses, including name, address, phone number, and website. Sometimes they can contain other details about your services and products as well. Local SEO takes each and every one of these business listings and makes sure that they're representing the accurate and up-to-date information. And having it consistent makes sure that anywhere somebody's going to find you, whether it's a person going on Yelp looking for businesses in their area, or whether it's the Google bot trying to confirm that you are in fact a real business and a good choice to send searchers to, having your information consistent can make an impact with both of those groups. Now, we mentioned some of these ones as the top tier directories because they are the most important for most businesses. However, there are also some opportunities to create niche or geo listings in more targeted industry or region specific directories. A good example is for any clients who are in hospitality, creating a citation or a business listing in American Hotel and Lodging Association's directory can help build some specific relevance with that specific industry, helping boost your results when people are searching for some of those terms, especially in your immediate market. Now, our process for local SEO is primarily first and foremost to get access to and verify that Google business page. Then we do a thorough review to make sure that we can analyze and identify as many different opportunities to be able to grow with that profile. We report on our progress monthly and communicate with the business owner consistently to make sure that we're getting all the right information and can keep things up to date on the profile. A good thing to know about our local campaigns is that we also update those individual details that can sometimes change with the seasons. Holiday hours are always updated by our team, and we make sure to reach out and ensure that whatever hours are displayed for your businesses are accurate to whatever holiday season we might be going through. And a great thing to know is that in terms of proving our progress, we give a campaign recap every 6 months that identifies the progress that we've made thus far, and then outlines what our strategy is for the next 6 months to make sure that we're constantly staying in line with best practices and continuing to grow the profile. Something I should just quickly mention is that local SEO is a lot about long-term success. You want to ensure that you're maximizing as much attention and visibility to your organization as possible. And so while there are some elements that you can, optimize by making specific changes, the real key to local SEO is a consistent investment. Since the more and more you focus on keeping your organization at the top of the list, the more and more often you're going to naturally get those same kinds of results. Now, for some other local SEO tactics here, I've talked about Google Business Profile optimization and expansion. Something else I'll quickly mention about the GBP before we move off of that subject is that if your clients don't have a Google Business Profile, well, that's perhaps the biggest opportunity for local SEO you might ever encounter. Since I showcased earlier that almost 40% of the algorithm is the GBP alone. So that's money left on the table for some of those folks who don't yet have that profile created. And our team is extremely adept at helping get those profiles claimed and verified. A whole lot faster than if it were simply a business owner trying to do it on their own. In terms of business listings, not only do we go through and populate those business listings, as I mentioned, to make sure that they're consistent, but we also go through and monitor those directories to suppress any duplicates that might show up in the case of those directories updating. We can build authority and link building by building some specific association with other websites that are relevant to your business to help improve rankings. And that last tactic that we utilize is something called schema, which is, to go into a little bit more depth, schema is essentially just a signal that you can put on your website that helps drive some additional local visibility. It's some special lines of code that essentially tell Google, hey, we're a business and we're associated with this Google Business Profile. So anytime somebody's looking for things that are relevant to us, you should show this profile. That's really the goal of it. There's a couple of different types of schema, but overall, you should understand that this is a kind of extra step that we can take in terms of local SEO that makes us a different, kind of a differentiator from our competitors. Since a lot of folks won't go this length to really ensure that we're maximizing that local visibility and the connectivity between your website and that GBP. So it's a good thing to understand that that's something we can deliver on. Now, to jump quickly to reporting, obviously reporting is extremely important for helping our clients understand the performance of our campaigns. And so what we try to do is we try to illustrate not just some overall visibility metrics, like how many times a certain post or how many times a certain profile showed up and for what terms it showed up for, but we also like to measure conversion metrics, such as how many times somebody clicked on the button to ask for directions or to click on your phone number to call you on the phone. I know Rudy has an example pulled up and ready to go to be able to go through some local SEO reporting a little bit more in depth. So I'm happy to toss it back to Rudy to go through that. Would you like me to stop sharing my screen, Rudy, so that you can take over?
Yes, please.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Sebastian. And like I said earlier, you can see that Sebastian does this in his sleep. I mean, he knows every in and out of SEO. That's why he's the best one to give the deck presentation that I felt. So let me show you here. Share my screen here. All right, so let me show you here. This is what I call the Thelma and Louise report, and I nicknamed that Thelma and Louise because, as you can see here, well, a little bit prior to August, the company that decided that they wanted to do local SEO was way down at the bottom. See, this here is a 13-month year-over-year report. And again, it's live reporting. So this is what they did the year before. This is what they're doing now. So right about here is where they started to pick us up to handle their local SEO. So as you can see, Thelma and Louise, they go down a rocky road here, their car's all tuned up, here they go up the hill again. But as you get to the end where they decided that they wanted to end it instead of doing the 12 months, like Sebastian said, long term, they only wanted to try it out for 8 months. You can see here, that's where they fell off the cliff. It just went straight on down back to where they were originally. Now, there is good and there is bad about this. The bad is, shown down here a little bit further. Let's see here, last 13 months. Right here. So here I'm trying to find it. Basically, with their exposure for what we were able to help them with, they were able to increase their foot traffic to their website by 358%. This report, of course, has been modified a little bit for privacy. We didn't want to divulge who the client was, but yes, they increased their foot traffic by 358%. And the highest rating that you could get is a 5. Originally, they were, I think, at a 1.8. So we increased their rating. So if they decide to more or less re-up their local SEO, they'll be at a higher rating than they were originally. So it's a win-win across the board, even though they only done it for 8 months, which is considered a short duration of time. But just to let you know, they did lose all those other customers that they would have had, visiting their website during that 4-month time that they didn't really want to advertise. And local SEO is a very, very cost-effective way. I mean, it's a very low price point to be able to get the foot traffic that you need to your website. One other thing I wanted to show you too, while I have a chance here. Let's see, SEO marketing. Oh, right here. If you go, where is it here? 365. If you go to the link that we originally had, where is it here? Where is it? Quotations. And of course, I cannot find it again.
If you're looking for the one sheet, it might be easier just to share it with the team following the call.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. By the time I get to it. Right here. So here's the announcement. So you see here, if you go all the way down to the bottom, right here, digital advertising definitions. If you click on that, it'll bring it up, and then you'll have the list of all of the definitions right here for what we went over today. All right. So with all that, I'm going to hand it back on over to Sebastian. Let him take it from here. Let's see here. Stop share. All right, Sebastian, is all yours.
Thank you so much, Rudy. Really appreciate that. So just to wrap it up on the local SEO reporting segment, we really try to illustrate not just the impact that we've been able to make in terms of search metrics, but also those bottom line metrics, right? Business owners really care about reviews. They care about how many people are making their way through the door. And so our local SEO reporting is really designed to kind of showcase that and give you as a sales team, right, the opportunity to really prove the performance of the campaign and advocate for its continuation. So to move on from reporting, we also wanted to showcase an exciting resource that we can put together to help you folks understand more about the clients that you're working with. We have what we call local SEO audits, which help provide insights into your local SEO visibility, as well as some opportunities to improve. These audits can showcase a whole bunch of different information, including some of the more educational info on the ranking factors that I walked through earlier on in the deck, although albeit in a more simple positioning, since we don't want to get all the way into the weeds with some of our clients. But we also provide an analysis of Google business profiles to see what's done well and what can still be yet improved by following best practices as we've understood them by working with Google. A good thing to know about our team, by the way, is that every one of our specialists is a Google partner, meaning we have a certification that comes directly from Google and a line of communication to understand best practices, which is one of the reasons why we're able to drive success a whole lot more efficiently than perhaps some of our competitors. Now, these audits also include a listing scan, which takes a look at some of those top-tier business listing directories and gives you a measure of how many of those directories are showing accurate, inaccurate information, as well as even showing you listings that are missing information on your businesses entirely. A quick tip, oftentimes, if you can showcase that a certain business owner doesn't have any information to be found on one of the web's major directories like Yelp or Apple Maps or something like that, that can often be a really enticing selling point to help really communicate the need and opportunity with local SEO and how much room there is really to grow with that. Finally, there's going to be a matrix that showcases the differences in between our offerings in case you'd like to get a more specific look at what we can accomplish and tailor that to the client's specific goals and needs when it comes to foot traffic. And so as a final point here, I'll just encourage you guys to, if you're interested in getting one of these local SEO audits for one of your prospects or clients, reach out to Rudy. He can absolutely help get you this resource created and then in your hands. So that way you have a streamlined and effective resource to be able to make the case for local SEO and bring new campaigns on. Makes it a whole lot easier to be able to talk about local SEO in context of what it can do for clients. And I know Rudy has seen quite a bit of success in utilizing them to make connections with some of his prospects. To wrap up here, we wanted to highlight once again some of the progress we were able to accomplish for one of our clients. Now, just as a kind of summary to a lot of the different elements we've talked about today, local SEO is a bottom funnel tactic that helps drive success with folks who are in market for some of your services. And pairing local SEO with other tactics that fill out the rest of the marketing funnel can have really great cost-effective results for some of our clients. Since, of course, as Rudy mentioned, local SEO is a rather small investment compared to what you can accomplish on the back end with increasing your local visibility and foot traffic. So take the case of Vein Clinic here, one of our healthcare clients. These folks were interested in a long-term solution for building branding and awareness. And they really prioritized making sure that they could not just get up to the top of the list, but stay there in terms of consistently identifying and associating themselves as a market maker in their local area. And so what we did was we ran a handful of different campaigns for them, including local and organic SEO. For local SEO, we did a lot of the tactics that we described today, making sure that those directory listings were as uniform as possible, increasing their maps rank by optimizing that Google business profile and adding schema to the website, and all of which was designed to boost foot traffic to their brick and mortar locations. Now, we had some questions about organic SEO in the chat, so it's good to know as you're considering this case study that we also utilized organic to focus on content marketing and authority building by adding more information to the site that casts a wide net over the kinds of search terms that these folks would like to drive interest from. Now, by specifically targeting keywords with a high search volume and lower competition, we were able to create an efficient path to increase rankings without spending money in areas where we wouldn't necessarily make as much progress if we were focused solely on running headfirst into our competitors instead of sneaking right past them. Overall, the results that we were able to accomplish with this campaign were stellar. An over 300% increase in sessions on the site. That's folks getting to the website and staying there for longer than 30 seconds because they liked what they found. That's 457% in increase in search clicks. More and more individuals clicking on their results that show up on Google search, not just showing there, but actually interacting with them. Couple that with over 300% increase in search impressions and a whole bunch of other measures of their business are really on the up. We're super excited by the results we were able to accomplish with this particular campaign. And we think it's a really great example of how you can not only use local to drive success for a brick and mortar location, but how it can fit in the context of a larger marketing strategy, helping you position yourselves not just as the vendors of one specific product, but as the consultative resource that your clients can come to be able to build a full marketing strategy and drive success to their organization. So with that being said, we've talked about a lot today. Like I said, just before the start of this slide, how local can really impact your local visibility, get more people in the door. If you take only 4 words away from today's presentation, it should be that local SEO opens doors. It's all about getting people into the door, whether it is that physical door that helps people into your storefront or by calling on the phone or visiting your website. I asked you folks earlier to think about some other businesses that would rely on local visibility. And I'm wondering if some of you might be able to drop some examples in the chat for me now, but I'll just rattle off a handful. Think about attorneys, think about HVAC, think about, local restaurants, think about local stores, ice cream shops, places like that. If your organization or anybody you're working with relies on getting people to interact with you from your local market, local SEO is an essential tactic to help drive success for you. So we're really thrilled that everyone was able to come and join us today to talk about local. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I love local SEO. I'm super excited about it. I think it's a super effective tactic. And so more than anything, I am really excited to be able to showcase the possibility to all of you and get some interest going to be able to drive some more local success with some of your partners. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for coming to today's presentation, and I want to open up the chat to be able to get some questions and answers going. I noticed that there were a couple of other questions that came through the chat, but while I'm reading through these, Rudy, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to the presentation that I didn't go through?
No, that was definitely a very thorough presentation. Appreciate it, Sebastian. Like I said, our back office team is one of the best. We definitely get things done when it comes to digital advertising. So definitely want to give you a round of applause and thank you for that thorough explanation. Now, if anybody has any further questions after we answer these and they don't want to, ask them here, feel free to contact me directly. And then also, if you decide that you wanted to move forward, contact me and I'll put you in touch with your local consultant. And, we'll all work together to develop the best plan for your digital advertising. All right. And I'm going to give it back to you, Sebastian.
Great. Thank you so much, Rudy. So we've got a couple of questions that came into the chat. Let's see. I answered Nick C's about getting your keywords to appear under specific keywords. But if I didn't answer any part of your question earlier on, go ahead and ask a follow-up. I encourage you to. So to Gus's question, any tactics you'd recommend in developing the Google Business Profile description for a more accurate search results? A word cloud with all possible associated search terms, activities, and products? Is it possible to apply too many words within a Google Business Profile? Great question. I'm so glad you engaged with this one specifically. I will say that I do have some tactics and recommendations for making a description itself most effective. To answer that second question, it is possible to have too many words, and I don't recommend having a word cloud because more than anything, something that Google is looking for, whether it's local SEO on your Google Business Profile or organic on your website, there's one thing they want you to be above all, and that is useful. They want you to be a useful target for people who are searching for products and services. And so a word cloud with a whole bunch of different mentions isn't nearly as useful as a short, succinct description that accurately describes exactly the value that you can provide to your organization. Now, you might be thinking, well, succinct, that doesn't give me a whole lot of opportunities to add in more keywords. Well, that's why I talked about all the other areas of the Google Business Profile that you can add more information. Those Google Business Profile posts are a great way to go in depth on specific services, but there's also a service section of the Google Business Profile where you can give more specific information on your exact products and services and put all of that information, including deliverables and even pricing, directly onto that profile to increase your association there. You can also utilize categories to associate your business with a specific set of organizations. Think about a business consultant who also does digital marketing. You can have up to 10 categories on Google search on your Google Business Profile. And so you could identify yourself as a digital marketing agency, a business consultant, an internet marketing agency, and a whole bunch of other terms that get as close as possible to what you actually deliver. And so to answer your question simply, you can go a little bit too hard on the description, so you want to be succinct and useful, describing your business as accurately as possible. And then from there, you want to fill out as many other areas of the Google Business Profile as possible to build your association with those products and services and help drive interest for everything that you'd like to cultivate traffic for. Thanks so much for the question. Jackie had mentioned, could you discuss the pros and cons of using Google Ads services, such as sponsored search results or sponsored YouTube videos, such as paid ads? Now, I will say that search engine marketing is another one of the trainings that's coming through this webinar series in the next coming weeks. And so I apologize if I'm going to answer this question briefly, because I know that there's going to be a whole bunch more information left. Sebastian, heads up, we have 8:50 left. I got you, dog. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to wrap this up super quick. So in terms of the paid ads, I will say that paid ads are a great way to drive success in a different area of the marketing funnel. A lot of the times, a lot of video ads like paid or Google Ads can be targeted top funnel tactics. So if you pair SEM, like paid ads like YouTube or some of these other search ads, with a tactic like local SEO, you can keep your organization at the very, very top of the rankings in those top ad spots, and then also work on investing on your visibility from the bottom end. Really kind of attacking the marketing funnel from both ends. That's why I talked quite a bit about the funnel, since of course, local SEO shouldn't be thought of in a vacuum. You should utilize it to drive success alongside all of your other marketing objectives. Let's see, is digital advertising the way to go now instead of paper and print? Unfortunately, I don't have 2 hours to be able to talk about this specific topic, but the simplest answer I can give you is that yes, digital advertising is the way to go. Print marketing still garners quite a bit of attention and visibility, but in terms of efficiency and maximizing return on investment, it's definitely digital for me.
One other thing too about the digital marketing, it's the best way to track and you can definitely understand your best return on investment as far as your advertising budget. And it really depends on the demographic too, because in the North Country as well, a lot of people are very religious about their papers. They have to have their papers day in, day out. So it's a split in the North Country rather than different parts of the country.
Excellent. Yeah, so I think that that really kind of wraps it up. But once again, if you guys have more questions on SEM or paid ads or even just more of digital, the best thing I can tell you to do is just stay tuned right here, because we've got more information coming in future webinar episodes to be able to dive into all of these different topics and really get an understanding of how digital can work for you guys. So I don't see any more questions in the presentation. Thank you all so much for having me and for joining us for this first episode in this kind of local webinar. Here, I'm going to hand it back to Brooke to wrap us up today. But once again, thank you all so much for having me. I had a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. I really like that we were able to dig in a bit to this one specific topic that we'll certainly build on over the next 4 sessions. So on that note, given the technical difficulty today, we need to get updated Zoom links for all of you for the future. If you were forwarded this login or did not receive any communication from me, it's probably because you registered in a different way. If you can make sure to fill out the registration, then we will make sure to get you the proper login for the future sessions as well as the recordings. Just putting that form link in there again. Feel free to share that with your friends and colleagues as well to join us in the future. Thank you again so much. Really appreciate the information, and I'll give a little plug for Chambers. That you had mentioned authority and link building as a good SEO technique. And when you are a chamber member and you're listed on our different directories, that is an inbound link that refers traffic, but also Google sees chamber websites as authority sites. And so there is SEO value to that membership. And certainly if you have the opportunity, I know with our chamber and the Watertown Chamber, you have the opportunity to add additional information, descriptions, keywords to your listing on the chamber site. Again, that same information that you're using to update Google and the other platforms that Sebastian mentioned, make sure to include that work and just copy and paste it into your chamber listing to have another touch point for people to find you. So wonderful. This is really helpful. You can contact Rudy, as Sebastian said, and if you are interested in moving forward or have any other questions, and we hope that you will all join us for the next session, and keep an eye on your email for the updated link and that reminder of date and time. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day.